Thanks to the tiebreaker, your current division leader, G-Man. And they're likely going to have to trot out Colt McCoy as their starting quarterback on Sunday because of the injury to Jones and the hamstring. 4 more brutal road games awaiting these teams. Beats Philadelphia, in large part because DK Metcalf did what he often does, had a big night. You see Darius Slay, and the completion percentage as the nearest defender is significantly higher than league average. Here you see Russell eyeballs the middle of the field and realizes I got my guy going deep, and Russell's as good as anyone throwing the deep ball. Slay, hard to put the blame on him there. They would score later in the drive. Later in the quarter, Wilson's so dangerous, rolling out, finds DK, leaping over Slay and out of bounds. Had 118 receiving yards in the first half. Second time this season in triple figures by the half. Third quarter, again, Wilson loading up to 14. Metcalf shaken up a bit on the play, but would return later. In the fourth, like this goes as a completion with him and as the nearest defender, but like, what? That's his fault? Come on. What are you going to do? Besides nothing. Metcalf, 10 grabs, 177 yards, 7 and 141 with Slay drawing that short straw and having to try to contain that dude right there. Looking at the NFC playoff picture, fascinating to see what the Saints are doing. Their quarterback hasn't thrown a touchdown since he was at BYU like 15 years ago. Doesn't matter. There's Seattle currently 8-3. Green Bay there as well. You get back into a complicated situation if the Saints were to lose again, about a 3-way tiebreaker and all the rest of that. Meanwhile, who leads the NFC East at the moment? That's the G-Men. A little more on Metcalf now. Who we got? Pete Carroll? All right, 177 yards tonight. Metcalf, the new NFL leader in receiving yards with 1,039. He's also nearing 2,000 in his career with 5 games left in the season. Less than 100 yards shy of Joey Galloway for the most yards through 2 seasons in Seahawks history. Ryan Clark joins us as he does every Monday. And Ryan, let's turn it from the offense of the Seahawks to the defense and what they were able to do to Wentz. They pressured him on 18 of 53 dropbacks. He was off target on 10 of 42 attempts. So, I mean, look, we're in a blame credit society. We like to give blame more than we like to give credit. If we're gonna give one or the other tonight, I mean, where do you lean?
I want to give credit to the Seattle Seahawks because this defense was talked about as the reason why they wouldn't be able to win a championship. The last 2 weeks, they've been amazing. Here, you're going to see them show middle of the field safety with a twist up front, and they roll to 2 deep. When they roll to 2 deep, they confuse Carson Wentz, and now that allows the pressure to get to him, and that's a sack. Also, now we're going to see them switch it up. They're going to show that single high safety again. Instead of rolling it too high, they play man-to-man. There's a tackle stunt up front, and now Carson Wentz has to hold the ball because there's no one open. They're still working with 4-man rushes, but getting to the quarterback. And on the final one, they have a fire zone where you drop out the D tackle, bring your best rusher, Jamal Adams, off the edge. There's a screen set up by the Philadelphia Eagles that he's unblocked on the outside, just too fast, just too athletic, and he gets to Carson Wentz. This defense has started to pick it up. You saw them curtail what Kyler Murray could do on the ground a couple of weeks ago, and now you see them get after the Philadelphia Eagles. This team is getting better. This defense is playing better. And when you watch the complimentary football of the Seattle Seahawks, they're not playing Russell YOLO ball anymore. They're playing championship football. And that's how this team can go far in the playoffs.
All right, we have some more conversation coming a little bit later on, and I'll just paraphrase what Ryan and I had a conversation off air. For Philadelphia fans who say, give us Hurts, you don't want Hurts, because he'd get hurt, get behind this O-line. That wouldn't be any good.
He'd get hurt.
You don't want Quandre Diggs. Later, he would complete a pass that was of great interest to many of you. And as a result, it's a 6-point road win. 6-point. The let Russ cook movement in full effect. He eclipses 3,000 yards Monday with 5 games to spare. He's now reached that mark in all 9 of his seasons, breaking a tie with Cam Newton for the second longest streak to begin a career in National Football League history. Peyton Manning did so in each of his first 13 seasons. Time now for our T-Mobile post-game coverage. Lisa Salters with Russell Wilson.
Russell, another primetime game, another win for you. You are the winningest quarterback in primetime in league history. Just what's your secret under the lights?
Oh, man, I think just staying poised. I think just believing and always being prepared. I believe in being prepared. I believe our football team was prepared. We're playing championship football. We got through some tough times. We also doing a great job all season. Our defense really stepped up the past few games. It looked unbelievable. Carlos Dunlap's a big pickup for us. Jamal Adams has been unbelievable. Diggs. Bobby Wagner's as good as it gets. I don't know if there's been ever a better linebacker. There's been some good ones, and that's a big comment. But, I'm just grateful for our guys. DK Metcalf made some great plays today. He got a lot of catches. Tyler, special. Guys ran the ball really well. We had that holding call. We could have been another touchdown. We had a couple big plays that could have been there, too, as well, to really break the game open. But we kept battling. We did it together, and that's what championship teams do. And so I just love playing. I love being prepared. I love winning, and I love the process more than the end result.
Let's talk about this kid.
All right, we welcome in Louis Riddick and Brian Griese. And, fellas, it's a workmanlike game from Seattle. I guess DK Metcalf's the one guy that just jumps off the screen, had 177 yards, which until the very end was more than everybody else in the field combined. And Louis, I'll just start with you as a guy who used to make his living trying to slow guys like that down. When you look at him, what are you seeing?
I'm seeing a problem. And I think Darius Slay saw a problem tonight, too. When you have that kind of size, speed, strength, rapport with your quarterback, it's tough to defend, Scotty, especially when you're one-on-one all night long like Darius Slay was tonight for the most part, because that's how Jim Schwartz likes to call the game. And Darius Slay's paid a lot of money, and they expect him to be able to match up against guys like this and be able to control them to some degree and not have them go off on you. You saw Jalen Ramsey do it, so he expected Darius Slay to have a little bit better of an outing than he did tonight. But for DK Metcalf and for the Seattle Seahawks fans in that organization, they've got themselves something between him and Russell Wilson that's going to be here to stay.
Speaking of problems, Brian, I didn't want to start the conversation here with the losing quarterback, but I feel like that is the overarching conversation that comes out of watching this game. You got a guy in Carson Wentz, and you all were right to point out it's not that many years ago he's out in the Coliseum and he's cooking, man. It was Carson that was cooking, right, with Philadelphia before that knee injury. But you pay him $128 million. I know the O-line's a mess, and you guys spent a lot of time in the back end of the game talking about it. But even when he's got time, he's off target. As a guy, Brian, who played that position, what is it that you see and don't see from Carson Wentz right now?
I think it's a confidence issue, Scott. And I think it's an accumulation of a lot of bad outings for not just Carson, but for this offense in general. And everybody just wants to bypass the offensive line. I don't. I'm sorry. Like, if you don't have time to sit back there in the pocket, then it begins to affect you. And even when you do have a clean pocket then, Scott, you're wondering, am I going to get hit in the back because I have, a guy in Jordan Mailata that's playing left tackle that's only started 5 games. So it begins to creep into your head. And then the play calling starts to get conservative. So yes, Carson Wentz needs to play better. Doug Peterson needs to coach better. The offensive line needs to play better. The management, the front office here in Philadelphia need to get better talent around Carson Wentz. I still believe in Carson Wentz, and you might mock me for that. I think he's a good quarterback. He's proven that he can be a good quarterback when you have the pieces around him.
No, not at all. And what you're I get it. And again, you played that position, so you know better than anyone how troubling it can be to have an O-line in front of you that is not able to keep you kind of upright. But I just feel like you're seeing misses when he's got a clean pocket, and the confidence speaks to that. It would make sense to me. And I just wonder, Louis, and you know that town so well, because you're still kind of in it in theory, but you're not in it if this is how you're going to play. You know what I'm saying? So I just wonder, and you made it the point during the game, what are you supposed to do? I'm not saying that making a switch at quarterback gives you a better option to win. I just wonder if they're kind of boxed in by the money and the situation, Louis.
Yeah, they're boxed in by both. You're right. You're kind of in purgatory as far as your season is concerned. You would like to figure out what you have in the future, as far as Jalen Hurts is concerned, because you drafted him in the second round, right? So you start thinking along those lines from a long-term perspective. The short term says we still have a chance to win the division if somehow we can get ourselves together here and win a few games. So what that usually leaves you is right down the middle where they are right now, which is you have a little bit of hope, but you also know we have a lot of work to do. And that's where the fans, Scotty, get absolutely fed up because you know what? They're at this